Hello and welcome back to Ace Attorney. Alright, let's press him on all of these. Matt Engarde and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. But in terms of popularity, Mr. Engarde won, didn't he not? Yeah, but you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Corrida was always one step behind Mr. Engarde in everything. This year it seemed like he would finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Corrida lost the Grand Prix in the end. That is too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Wait, we already pressed them, right? It was a while ago. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That motive is enough in my book. Okay, next. As for evidence, there's the Jam and Ninja's button. It was ripped out of a ninja costume and was found in Mr. Engarde's Nakahakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife from the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. No, he did not. He took it from the... from there, right? From the restaurant. Gate water. Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument is that it was premeditated murder, simply that my client bought a knife beforehand? That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a good look at the handle of this knife, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name before somewhere. That's the name of the hotel, the Gatewater Hotel. Oh. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough to not realize this. I didn't know. Oh, well, the question is, where did this knife come from? Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Corrida's room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to that on top of the table. There is a knife and a fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room on the defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde. Especially what was on top of his table. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Engarde's knife was missing. Mr. Engarde had gone to the victim's room with a knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. It seems like Edgeworth has this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it. A murder weapon with fingerprints, and a button from the victim's costume. There is quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? It means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If he answered something wrong here, that gavel of his will be ringing out the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important necessary to present to this court? I should, right? I should have something. I could go with, I'm thinking like, Wait. What could I show? Actually, I do. There's one. Huh? One piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I don't feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I'm giving you one chance, only one. What the judge is saying, right, is just try pulling one of your usually bluffs. Let's save. If I mess this up, it's curtain for us all. You may not present one and only one piece of evidence. Now then, what is this important evidence that he must show to the court? I don't fucking know. This was weird. This is a wine glass, is it not? Please look at a photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These were all the things that were on point, sitting on top of the dresser. Well yes, I see your point. However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Huh? Well, what do you all have to say? Well, yes. It is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now, Mr. Edgeworth. What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion. Because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered her body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible. Mr. Wright? Could Mrs. Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? There's no way, right? No, there's no way. If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point out with certainty. They just might fall for it if you are thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set that cup on the table. If turned that situation on its head yet again, it's as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. It's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, Mr. Wright. Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then... Of course it has been thoroughly inspected. For fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were from the Adrian Andrews. What? Wine glass updated in the court record. That is why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Sure. I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrigan. Upon seeing the dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What he just said makes a lot of sense. Now, do you see, right? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. Grr, I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring the next witness. What in the world is Mr. 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻 thinking? Non-witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation. Ah, hehe, gotcha. I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier. Oh, edgy boy, it's been a year since we last met, hasn't it? He should be more happy to see me. Saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet it was the wicked witch of the witness stand? I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do, so today I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know. Ah, shush, I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now. Don't interrupt those grabs. Yes, madam. No, please, by all means, interrupt her, please. Anyway, witness, your testimony, please. It's true that they say that, yeah, you are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was in security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Oldback? It was a great job, being able to see my dear 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐜𝐬. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle. You mean, you're a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over that Enguard, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻. But those two were the same age. Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night. Very well, please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. What you witnessed? Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out on the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was Enguard, Matt Enguard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. So Mr. Edgar came out of the victim's room. See, it has to be him. He's the murderer. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. What you witnessed? Anyway, after ceremony, I went to pace around in hallways of his room. That's fine. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know? What? Something you were interested in? And just, what was that? It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know? It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy Poo, of course. Mr. 𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐻, what is this thing that she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? Should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to her testimony later. It looks like we shouldn't force it right now. And did the witness say in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time? Well, since I was on job, I made sure to keep a good eye. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of the poor Juan's room. It was Enguard, Matt Enguard. He was trying to sneak his way out of his Juan's room. You saw my client? Are you sure about that? Yeah, say. Really? Annoying Brad, when I say I saw someone, I say I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of déjà vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Okay, the person's clothes. So maybe he was wearing a costume and she just saw the person and not him. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are, really, as if something like that matters. But it does. Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing. What thing? That gaudy thing he's always wearing, that racing jacket. Ah, he was wearing that at the detention center too. That thing's meant nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Man. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way? It was very important. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Perhaps you would like to point out what part of the testimony was important. Can you see it, Mr. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that the witness said about the jacket to be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see where you're going with this, but alright, witness please. Oh well, I don't like badmouth anyone without reasons, but if I must... He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's just for show. Okay. But it was found in his hakama, not his jacket. Miss Oldback. Don't say my name for no reason. Do you know what this is? Ah, it's button number 2 on the Jamming Ninja's costume. Oh, I know she's an obsessed fan. She didn't have it in a single glance. Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this. Wow, he's really a diehard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Edgard's body during a full search. See? This button proves beyond a shadow of doubt that it was that rascal Edgard. It was caught up in the pleats of his Nickel Samurai Hakama pants. See? Edgard is the Nickel Samurai. Witness? Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Mad Edgard, was wearing his usual racing jacket? Ah, I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress, then maybe instead I have to put up with wearing this outfit. It's hideous, right? It's heavy, so heavy. Life for all those kids out there, understand? Now take a look in the mirror. Documentary on curling. Ratatatata. Hold your tongue still there for a second. So what he saw in actuality was not Mr. Edgard, the man. But Mr. Edgard, the Nickel Samurai? But when you think about it, they are really one and the same anyway. It's all back. This is a very important point we are talking about. TTeu, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. Edgard! Yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go on that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know? So he must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume. Did you think there could have been someone else inside this costume? Don't be a bad little boy, thinking such rude things. But the possibility does exist. Ah, youngins today. I told you, there's no way it was anyone else. How do you know that? Because I said so, and what I say is the truth. At least she's just delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Alright. Let's see if we can find a contradiction. No. 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 He wouldn't leave fingerprints because he was wearing the costume. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife, big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't even have to ask, it's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving? If Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿 was really in the nickel samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on the knife right off. Oh, that's right, the nickel samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave prints on a murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. And let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room, while in the costume as the nickel samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk to the victim about a stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that there are bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I have heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻's theory? So let me get this straight. 𝐒𝐸𝐿's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? Yes, there's contradiction. Why did he take the knife if he had no intention? This theory contradicts something in the earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now, for an argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿 was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. Because the knife had fingerprints. He was taking the knife. Right? This knife was used by Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿 at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻, your theory is flawed from the superstition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints should be all over like a bee's on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order, I say order! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would a murderer do such a thing? The frame at 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻. It's the frame my client, Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻, of course. The frame? Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the nickel samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Witness! Huh? Looks like I've made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh? Edgy poo. Witness, did you or did you not really see the nickel samurai? Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻 with nickel samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for nickel samurai, that's for sure. Huh? She wasn't waiting for the nickel samurai? Alright then. Who were you waiting around for then? Huh? That's top secret, anyone outside for security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿𝐻. Am I correct, witness? The way you think, you are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? The old bag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corita. Maybe Phoenix, maybe the older bag, was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think it is, Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldback, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's rooms, weren't you? Who's this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Edgar's manager. But why would a defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this is, I see. The judge seems to be really into the article. If it can be called such a thing. Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's Adrian Andrews? Without a doubt. The witness thought so as well. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to the confidentiality stuff then. Witness? What in the world are you? Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I've got some information, some very secret information from a certain source, and that's why I was doing my own little investigation. Of course. But what for? Oh, just for myself, personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? Well, I don't want to do this, however, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information. Get ready. This is going to take the wind out of you, youngins. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really. It's not like we are 10 years old. Secret information. What in Gladius? One evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get him close with Juan. He couldn't condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret, you got that? Nobody else but me know that yet, okay? Alright, the defendant sent his manager. What a disastrous topic for his court. What? Nobody's above a gossip. And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant. Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We have looked into this matter. I found that the truth the article proposes is, in fact, baseless gossip. But should this be true, this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful, the old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right, Edgar is nothing but your average full-blooded youth. Well, as the old saying goes, you've gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and head the highway to the danger zone. Alright, secret information, let's do. That Edgar is one evil man. He thought he could ruin my Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent on his manager, getting close with Juan. I can't condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Alright, this is top secret. Let's see. What do you mean by that? Wait! What? I'm busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over. Secret information that no one else knows yet. That's true, then how do you know this secret information? Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drill a hole into my brain, you'll never find out. How in the world did that old bat get such a secret piece of evidence? Present evidence. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? That's true, then why do you know it, Mrs. Oldback? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that. Witness. I had to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret info, isn't it? Stole the camera from Loda. Investigative photograph of Loda Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. She reported such a thing? On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her outrageous impressions about the relationship between the victim and Mrs. Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, you say? No, I said impressions. Then... Everything written on the piece of paper is completely meaningless? Ah, that's it. That's the note. Ah! No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy. Ah, then you are the one who took Mrs. Hart's note. I'm a huge fan of Kuan, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper is working with an evil Enguard. She said to herself, Enguard, and his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. TTeu, you believe me, don't you? Ah, I was only trying to help out like 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐬𝐤 I am. It's only one little piece of paper, I've never taken anything else before. You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Well, it was only a piece of paper, I suppose we can overlook it just this once. It looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? Pile on more pressure. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the persecution. Witness, you said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct? So, I didn't listen more carefully, you annoying brat. Save this piece of paper from the terrible lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. Are you putting credibility under scrutiny again? It's all back. I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night. You also stole the camera, like I said. It's all back. That note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, my sweetie's $1,600 camera disappeared on me. Why? Witness? What is this, Gramps? If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for? Ah, that's... What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know? I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card, and when I noticed it said, Slimeback celebrity photographer extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of pictures she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things. Well, bailiff, check the camera's photos. Hurry. You must examine them at once. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? There is one photo that seems to be relevant to this case. Please proceed to record. This is the Nickel Samurai. See? I told you. That's the guy I saw. It proves that the witness was lying earlier about this matter. Let us photo added to the court record. What does this all mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photo by itself does not prove that the person is defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Enguard clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is the defendant. How did it come to this? I think it brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree this photo is decisive evidence against your client? If this photo really is decisive, then we are done for. If I raise an objection here and blow it, I'll put Miles' life in jeopardy. I can't make a mistake here. There's only one route out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took. There's something strange with it. But what? Do we have a picture of the samurai? Okay. That's the samurai. There's mountains and shit on it. This one has waves? That looks different. I knew it was coming, right? Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree there is nothing strange with this photo. There is no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you are planning to do, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please look at the photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct? Well, if you find something wrong with this photo, I can't let this chance go by. Where the heck did she take this photo from anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot? Especially when it counts. Now then, let's hear the objection. What about this photo is strange? I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be the one thing. However, you can't. And what does that mean? The costume person in this photo could not have been Mr. Enguard. What is the meaning of this? I wonder if you would care to elaborate, with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the kama. His socks! You can see his socks! Exactly. However, in this photo, Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his kama up to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside his costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. What is? It's unusually calm today. That's true. It's just letting the trial run itself, as if it's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. He doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all. Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Enguard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. I figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside his costume is not Matt Enguard. In that case, who is this a photo of? When the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume? Andrews, right? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah, why is he so calm? Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it's none other than this woman. And why would he say it must be Mr. Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short. And she can freely move in and out of Mr. Enguard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Enguard that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Enguard's fingerprints all over it. A knife that was used as a murder weapon. Why don't you just say that it is you want, right? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order! It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. This court is issuing a subpoena for Mr. Adrian Andrews. The verdict cannot be passed without first hearing their testimony. Alright, this is it. This is kind of bad for us. Huh? What do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day? Ah! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya... Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court. I should not. I should raise an objection, right? I think. Yeah, and ask for a recess rather than adjourn. Now then. Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass the verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Mrs. Edgeworth's testimony if she's not... I'm poor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor. What do you mean by that? Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Mr. Andrews is all happening according to plan. Even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness. Huh? Everything was planned out in advance by that man. Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly. Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. To be continued. Alright then. Let's do a save. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian. No way, not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person with easy access to the knife you used at the dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in her coma. Because she was the one that came to wake me up. And dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜𝐬. But why? I thought she was bad with 𝐒𝐤. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. You'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Liar Dude. Phoenix. You think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impact's as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounded like she left as a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it. Is 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜𝐬 the victim of this murder? And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got it close to Mr. 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜𝐬, all to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? They stated Miss Andrews' dependency she is with regards to Miss Impact. It was Edgeworth. It looks like he still has one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Alright, let's go back. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Mr. Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜𝐬's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Engard. See, now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure, what is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. I know, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever prosecution with this, he would do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relationship to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter. Or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. I didn't kill him. No one is accusing of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. Huh? I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court. About what happened when you discovered a murder that had taken place. When I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. There was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the same exact scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You poured yourself a glass of juice? You mean wine? Yes, sadly I remembered not to touch things at the scene of a crime, and I disturbed the crime scene by moving the sphinx. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix, she's on one cool collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things consistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up your offense, in the instant this trial is over, understand? Of course, of course. Let's go. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock? What was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. You can seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table. I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? There were no lip marks left on the wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock, and that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I don't think that was possible for you. Were you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Should we press further? I should definitely press further. Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set a glass down to the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower with, where it fell into the guitar case. Wasn't it wet? But it was open. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with that, what I said? Not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell on the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have been gotten wet inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about this guitar case. What is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. And what is wrong with that? The guitar vase was open when the case fell. The glass shards should be inside, not outside the case. What is your point, right? The case was closed at the time that it was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Ah, yes, that's right. She did implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. This whole matter with guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relationship to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost uncomforting. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and start cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a week. And the guitar case. I don't remember it clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. Wouldn't then it be on the right of the image? Right, like on the right of the guitar case? If it was on top of it, broken. But it's all on the left, which makes no sense. There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah. Unless you were wearing the costume. What is it, Mr. Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? If I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time. Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange. You were wearing gloves, isn't that a little strange? Is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? Of course, the wine fucking glass that has fingerprints on it. Piece of shit. I have your proof right here, this wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah! Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? Did you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? We got her. We got her. Order, order, order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here, but it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was an empty though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your assumption. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I might mean would have been unnatural for someone to do that. But the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that that on the case. Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and loss in all into his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall when Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you're so sure, right? Then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, I don't know. Is anything here? I don't see the guitar case here. But we could try. Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean... So, the intent to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? Oh, the outfit could have been in there, yeah. I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Play the head of yours, you haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? This is the photograph, yes, but what is important is what's in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture, it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that a witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be in doing something like that? An insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? Huh? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get the shot, correct? You mean this photo? Order, order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai costume would have been Mr. Madsenkart's. Why would something of the defendant be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places? True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare costume, right? Because he was wearing it. Mr. Guard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? Do you mean that the victim himself had brought his spare for the ceremony on purpose? But why? The victim, Mr. Corrida, was the Jama Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the nickel samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and the answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the nickel samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Wait, yeah, he didn't say he remembered anything about the conference. If the other guy was wearing this outfit, he could have pretended to be nickel samurai. That would be cool. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the nickel samurai was going to hold a special press conference. Press conference? Yes, the nickel samurai was supposed to confess something to the conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿 himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿 himself. The victim? Yes. The spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. 𝐒𝐸𝐿 was going to hold the press conference as the nickel samurai. He was going to dress up as the nickel samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. If I confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that 𝐒𝐸𝐿, posing as the nickel samurai, is going to speak about Mad Enguard. Yes, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I can see why you're pros and what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one who asked to help us set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan had bet everything on the Champion Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had his hands, a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? And do you know what the secret of the Master Enguard is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. Ah, I see. I have probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's not to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Enguard? And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us about the truth about our behavior. Yes, Your Honor, I understand. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had the feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. If he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder, my thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. But why would he kill him? It makes no sense. This does account for everything. Well, I'm the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault in this testimony, I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep in mind that as you cross-examine Mr. Wright, looks like somehow everything is swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had the feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have any alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, and the button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. Fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? Button? It's clear from a crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the J.𝐒𝐿 Ninja's costume. Talking about this button, correct? The button was found in the police of Matsukama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me with an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. The button was torn off the Juan during his fight with Matt. Was ripped from his costume. Okay. Strangled with scarf and stabbed with a knife. He wouldn't be bloody then. Right? This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stabbed to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. Then, when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it's impossible before this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah! That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body. Order, order! What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, right? What if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edward. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know that this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? Well, plant the evidence, right? Pin the crime on Enguard. There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Enguard. There is no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. Enguard was set up. By the real killer, of course. And the real murderers is, well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real murderer? Finally, I can believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet, not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planted the frame to Mr. Enguard is... We already said it like twice. Fucking Andrews. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you. You are Mr. Corrida's killer. What? Order, order, order! Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Mrs. Andrews. How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after it had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion on Mr. Enguard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room, and the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Ah! Then, what about the button that was found in Matsukama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body, or the killer. However, if Mr. Edgard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. Ah! The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Edgard's Hakama is the person who wanted to wake him up from his nap. Choose you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just a costume inside a guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. It's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Ah! To top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the site of the crime. No reasonable person on earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Edgard. It would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Ah! Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop! Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews, I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes, you're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination. By allowing the witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Yes, it is. Actually, thinking back to yesterday, Mr. Edgard's room. Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? Alright. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things looked bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Miss Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? Hehehe. What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Ran out of evidence? Ah. You're so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm sure you realize this as well, Honor, but everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. But this is not how fucking legal system works. He needs to prove that he didn't fucking kill him beyond a reasonable doubt. And he fucking did that. I fucking did that. This should be fucking over, and now she should be on the trial. Oh my god. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida? I believe this may lead me to incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, he's taking a defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense theory that she is an actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with a solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there is only one thing in this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request that both the prosecution and defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial... Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. We don't get a not guilty verdict today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's unnecessary. The trial, please continue the trial. What is swearing at? The client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, what are you? It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against her self-incrimination, however, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but... Actually, there is one little thing I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I cannot but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that a witness testify again. As to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in the testimony should in no way implicate a witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can get a good read of him. Is he a friend or foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request, Miss Andrews, if you please. When I found the body. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in a messy state. Kuan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. That makes no sense. He had a fucking knife in him. So you poured a glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your testimony earlier? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on with that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. We know what to present already, so... When I found the body... Alright, present, you couldn't think that because, where's the photo? Grab photo here. So, you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Ah! What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Corrida's chest. Anyone saw the scene would have immediately thought that there was a dead man. You see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then, so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. The point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. Ah! And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No! It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Engard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I'll give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Then there is no need for this court to continue further. Mr. Madengar's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have you found the truth at last? What's wrong with Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses hers or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Madengar. Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth? What are you? Witness? Don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Engard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is. Yesterday, she was tossed by a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews unknowingly believes that in those words right now, and is clinging onto them. And what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get our not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please, believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help! Please, someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I would like you to hear what I intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Force Andrews to testify. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this, not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Engard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? But be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense theory is the truth. You're wrong. Huh? What a shame. Huh? I'd hoped these things wouldn't come to this, however. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. So stop! Mr. Edgeworth? This witness, how should I put it? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop! Please stop! No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. Ah! That's the second part of the suicide report, the attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature, having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop, I beg you, if the people find out. If people find out, I will... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is no concern of me. Huh? Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. Huh. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please help me. Nothing matters anymore. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized it was that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one else in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. Then I stabbed one's dead body with a knife, and ripped off the button. Just when I finished it was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. That's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. Stab the body with a knife, but why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person? A certain cowardly man. What? What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but... This is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐜𝐬, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Engard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence this cross-examination. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. But he could tell from the state of the room I was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when he said that you didn't know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. But that scarf is a part of the Champion Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought he would wake him up and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because he was going to expose Matt's weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought, I should force some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the 4 pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to the mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made dash back to Matt's room. That was so he could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at the dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. And when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. I thought to rip one of the buttons off and then apply it in Engard's hakama. That's what I planned to do. Things never got that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returned to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera already loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet by spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun already pacing back and forth. That's Miss Holback for you. I'd already been caught and made it a big scoop for a certain weekly tablet once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. That's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into 𝐒𝐞𝐜𝐬's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for this press conference, correct? Yes. John wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. And what is this secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave one's room in the nickel samurai costume, then people would think that Matt is the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely do not want anyone to know about the costume. I think I've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Edgar's room and planted the button. Into man's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into the bag. And I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word. What does all this mean? Mr. Edward, is it? The real criminal is Matt Stengard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What is this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not a real killer. Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. Huh? It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Mr. Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. We couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. What? Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. Today's trial is over, and I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Huh? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there, right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness, that card, give it to me, hurry! Huh? Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly and inadvertently done? This? I can't believe you hid this from me all this time! I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. Card. What in the world is it? What does it mean? To be continued. Alright. Okay. Let's save. And we're going to the next one. March 22. Mystic Maya! There, pearls. I can't take it anymore. Wow! Look, it'll be alright. Everything may still work out. The condition was that we had to get a not guilty verdict. And so far the kidnapper has kept his word and hasn't hurt Maya. He won because Mr. Engard hasn't been given a guilty sentence yet. Cheer up. We don't have time to stand around crying. We have to get going. Yeah, you're right. Mystic Maya is in much more pain than I am. Yes, that's right, so... Hey, you guys, glad I caught you, pal. Mr. Scruffy Detective? Oh boy, looks like Detective 𝐒𝐤𝐬 has been dubbed the Mr. Scruffy Detective by Hurdlespook now. You're just plain old Mr. Dick 𝐒𝐤𝐬 now, and I came to talk to you, pal. But we are kind of busy right now. The future. So, what are you going to do from now on? What do you mean, pal? Well, you've been fired, right? So, do you have a new job lined up yet? Oh, that. What am I supposed to do now, pal? I don't have anything coming up until my next payday. What? What are you talking about? You don't have another payday. I guess that means I'm just gonna have to work here at your place, pal. Say what? You'll be searching for things that will prove Mr. Engar's innocence all day, right? Well, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to help you, pal. I've got lots of experience investigating and watching over people's places. And I'm great at making really simple meals, pal. I'll take care of it all. Come on, Mr. Nick. Let's let Mr. Scruffy Detective take care of things. Okay. By the way, what's your best dish? Instant noodles, pal. Why am I surrounded by people who only eat cheap, unhealthy foods? Edgeworth. That was the first time I've ever seen Mr. Edgeworth look like that. Never thought he would say something like he didn't care if Mr. Andrews killed herself. He said that? That's horrible! Because of him doing that, we got the truth finally. The truth. Miss Andrews' last testimony. I wonder if that was the truth. I'll give you that there was nothing strange in her testimony itself. But I still think there is something fundamentally wrong with the whole thing. You mean about that thing, pal? Why would she want know? I mean, almost need to frame Mr. Engar. I couldn't figure that out from anything she said all day. Then you start saying what the testimony was a lie? Not a lie per se. It just feels like there's more here than meets the eye. Or that's what Edgeworth would like us to believe. That's such a dirty trick. Even that woman prosecutor was better than that. Franziska and Karma. Speaking of Miss Karma, do you have any more information on her condition? Wasn't she shot this morning? Miss Karma was shot today on the way to the trial by a pistol pal. She's going to be fine, right? I mean, Edgeworth said she was in a stable condition, but... Well, she was shot in the shoulder, so she's okay and still hanging in there. They should be done talking the bullet out, so she's probably resting at the hospital. Which one? What? Are you going to visit her, pal? No, well, I was kind of thinking about it. Hey, you've actually got a heart, don't you? She looked like she was being tortured to death, not being able to go to the trial today. So maybe it would be good for her if you went and let her whip you for a bit, pal. Let's go! Let her whip us, Mr. Nick. No, I'm definitely not going. Let's see. The name of the hospital. Oh yeah, the Hottie Clinic. That name sends a chill down my spine. Well, I guess it can't hurt to stop by and say hi. Okay, let's go. Never thought I would ever come back to this place. Yes, are you here to visit a patient? Hi. Wait a second, you are? Yes, I'm Director Hottie. Why are you still here? Yes, what is it? How can I help you? You can tell me. Yes. Director Hottie? Edgeworth? Yes, I'm Director Hottie. Oh, you're the man from this morning. Yes, what is it? Director, Franziska. How's Franziska from Karma? Yes, you don't need to worry. Yes, she's in good hands. Yes. Because you see, yes, I'm taking good care of her. Yes, yes, and that surgery, it went well. You have my gratitude. It looks like Edward doesn't know about his director and his secret. She looks so pitiful. Yes, absolutely terrified. Yes. But I understand. Yes. Her opponent was a gun after all. Yes. And when I snuck up on her real secret, like, yes, she would scream really loud. Yes. See. But she's really cute too. Yes. When I would do that, she would whip me with her whip. Yes. Boy, did I cry like a baby. Yes. But I think I could get us used to it. Yes. Go back to your room. You're so mean. Yes. So mean, my frisky Friska. But that's... Okay. Yes. So it's time for me my IV drops. Yes. What are those tulips doing in your hands, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I knew I shouldn't have come here. Let's talk. The shooting. I was shot in the front of the courthouse in my right shoulder. But it's no big deal. This sort of thing happens all the time. I had full intentions of running a trial this morning. But that would have been too much for you. There's no need to act tough in front of us, you know. Regardless, I was dragged there by that man over there. He was so unyielding that one has to wonder if he was simply interested in stealing my case. It was the only logical course of action given the bullet was still lodged in your shoulder. But by taking over the case, I found myself having to clean up after you and that irresponsible deal you made. think I know what deal is referring to. The deal. Miss Von Karma, you made a deal with Miss Andrews yesterday, didn't you? I don't know what you mean. In order to make sure you got your guilty verdict on Miss 𝐒𝐤�2, you told Miss Andrews to not testify in court today. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have proof that I made such a deal? You're denying it? It looks like you were lucky, Mr. Phoenix Wright. If I had been in court today, this trial would have already been over. All while hiding Mrs. Andrews' own crime? That isn't my problem. I have only one objective, to find 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐿 guilty of murder. The end justifies the means. Mr. Phoenix Wright, the end justifies the means. Miss Von Karma, Adrian Andrews believes you when you said, if you don't tell the truth of what really happened, then 𝐒𝐤𝐤𝐿 will be found guilty. And what does that have to do with me? Because of that, she is now in danger of being found guilty herself. All because she believed in your words until the very end. That still has nothing to do with me. She's a weak person, that's all. But you had to know she was. I think visiting hours were all about over, so if you'll excuse me. What's wrong? Why did she suddenly cut you off? Probably because she thinks I had the advantage in that argument. 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿. Today's trial. What happened today at the trial, 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿? It was not like you at all. I mean, I know you knew about Miss Andrews' condition. You could have made her testify many times as you wanted, but to go that far... but she wouldn't testify about that until I said something. Listen, right? The courtroom is the garden of judgment. I'm putting myself on the line when I stand in there. And that's why I made the witness to do the same. It's not really natural. Adrian's card. By the way, 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿, you were really angry in the court today. That's rare for you. Witness, that card! Give it to me! Hurry! Do you have any idea what you have stupidly inadvertently done? This! I can't believe you hid this from me all this time! That card. What in the world is it? You mean this? Listen, right? This is top secret information. You absolutely cannot leak this. A special investigation team has existed for a number of years, but a few know of it. Understand? Their task is to find the owner of this card, a man called 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜𝐬 the Killer. And just as his name states, he's a killer, an assassin, the best at that. An assassin? Picture cards added to court record. Okay, so he did it. Alright. Assassin. So who is this 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿 the Killer? The Killer is the name of a long-standing line of assassins. Long-standing? The name first appeared about 100 years ago, I hear. 𝐒𝐤𝐿 is the professional name of the third heir to the Killer name. So because his professional name is 𝐒𝐿𝐤, he leaves cards with a shell on them. He has the habit of making sure to leave a card by the body of his victims. Why would he do something like that? I think it's a part of his duty to his clients. His duty? If he leaves a card, then his clients can be assured that it was he who killed the victim. It also serves as insurance against any charges being pushed into his clients. I see. The killer values the trust between his clients and himself above all else. It seems that this one is an honorable assassin with moral conscience. Guess that even honorable assassins can exist. So you think this assassin, you think he is the one who did the killing in this case? It would appear that way. Discovery of the card basically confirms it, wouldn't you agree? 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿 the Killer, huh? Nice situation. Noticed something in the trial today. You are behaving in a very strange manner. It's something the matter. I guess I should just tell him. Maya, she's been kidnapped. Kidnapped? What does the kidnapper want? An acquittal. I see. I had no idea. I will prepare a rescue team as soon as possible and resolve this by tomorrow. Really? Did you hear that, Mr. Nick? Mr. 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿 is going to... Stop trying to console me, 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿. I don't need your pity. Mr. Nick? There's no way you can find her. We don't even have a single lead to go on. There's only one way to save her. I have to get an acquittal somehow. It's the only way. Right? Listen, you need to know something. Juan Corrida was killed by 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿 the Killer. And the client who ordered the job is Matt 𝐒𝐤𝐿𝐤𝐿, your own client. Please stop. I can't listen to you. I can't believe that. I see. Well, if you want to continue your investigation, you will need this. What is it? The hotel right now is restricted to police personnel only, as we're looking for the clues that might lead us to Shelly the killer. But if you take this with you to the hotel, I'm sure they will let you enter. Letter of introduction added to your record. Okay. In any case, I must attend to the preparations for Maya's rescue team. We'll meet again. If anything should happen, now if you'll excuse me. Mr. Nick, do you think Mr. Engard hired an assassin? No way, I mean, he doesn't have a psych lock. Yeah, I guess not. Oh yeah, please, all I ask you is make it home, safe and sound. Date, time, location. Guess even kidnapper's gonna be a little clumsy. Clumsy enough to drop a card like this for me. And even though he said he was an assassin, I bet he's just making that up. Like how Nick does with everything in court. Anyway, let's try out the card trick and see if this card just fall. Sounds like I got the door open. Okay, time to take a look around. Oh, we're playing as Maya. Alright. What is this place? I've got a feeling I'm not in a hotel anymore. Are those videos over there? Well, I'll worry about that later. For now, I should be looking for clues. That way I can show them the sis and maybe get out of here. That's weird. What's that figure doing on a sofa like place like this? I think it's a bear. How cute. It's got a lot of cuts and slits on it. Wonder if it's some kind of puzzle or something. There's a framed picture sitting on this coffee table. It's a picture of a woman. She's kind of pretty. Hey, looks like something's written here. Let's see. I think it says, "With love, Celeste." Was that her name? Or someone else? Oh, it is her. Okay, Celeste Impacts. I bet this could be a clue. Oh, hey, it's a computer. I've never really used one before. I have no idea where the power switch on this thing is. Drat, there goes my plan to use something to get out of here. What is this thing? An antenna, I guess. And this is a VCR. For sure, a lot of electronic gadgets here. But what is the antenna doing here? Wow, I've never seen a TV this big before. Now there's the power button. Oh, I would die so happy, Samurai fan. If I ever got to see Nicholas Samurai on TV like this. Ah, I can't believe I just made a joke about dying, all things considered. Oh, locked, of course. And it doesn't look like I can use the card to open this door. There's a little hole at the bottom of the door. If only I was a little skinnier, then maybe I'd be able to crawl through there. Oh, this simply will not do. I cannot have you wandering around at will. Ah! It seems that your Mr. Wright is truly concerned about you. Yes. For now, I would suggest you remain cooperative. If you cannot, there are ways in which you can help you. Ways, you mean? Dead men don't tell no tales, is how the saying goes, correct? Dead? I'm almost certain I told you on our first meeting, I am an assassin. No way! You're lying! I mean, an assassin? People are not always who they appear to be. Nick! March 22nd. Mr. Nick? Oh yes, Pearls? Got caught up in my thoughts about Maya's situation. Mr. Edward has left you, you know? I guess for now, I have no choice but to leave in Mr. Engard. But I think I should listen to his story one more time. Alright, let's get going too. Okay. Alright, where are we going? This is the clinic reception, but it doesn't look like there's anyone at the counter. On the way of this month, world of device. Put your best foot forward. Putting this up at a general clinic like this doesn't really mean much, does it? This patient is undergoing rehabilitation. Wasn't the patient standing in the same spot the last time when you came to visit? Doesn't look like they've moved any closer to the reception desk, huh? Is this clinic really doing anything? Is that patient really getting better? Hey, don't just cut into my monologue like that. I'm explaining things here. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's move. The detention. Let's go to the detention center. I'm sorry, but visiting hours are over for today. Oh, I have too many questions I need to ask. I'm sorry, but I'm Phoenix Wright, a lawyer of one of the... You're Mr. Wright, you say? Oh yeah, there's a message here for you. A message? It's from Matt Encard, and here you are. What did he write? Is it something really important? I don't know. Well, let's see what it has to say. The Mr. Lawyer dude. I've got really important to tell you. I don't feel uneasy all of a sudden. Oh, Mr. Wright. Actually, I have a favor to ask of you. I have this cat named Show. I didn't put a lot of food when I left the house, so he's probably pretty hungry. You think you could drop by my house and feed Shoe for me, dude? The house is just a little ways down the hotel, right? This is terrible. Let's hurry. We have to feed a cat. I'm sure poor Shoe's stomach is growling by now. Yeah, I guess. That's no jammed in the bucket. A client's request is a request. I guess I should go check up on his cat. Alright, now Mr. Nick, let's go look for clues. We have to for Mr. Matt's sake. You shall not pass! Ah, Miss Oldback. Won't devalue my name and turn it into gasp, you spiky-headed pettifogger! Because you have been made to look like a bad guy again, although I did get a piece of gum from Edgy Boy. Just as he promised, but something much more valuable. I'm with Edgy Boy's poor heart. It's all your fault. You've awakened the wild beast inside of Oldback. Arrgh! Ah, Miss Oldback, keep your hands off of me. This helmet is airtight. No air gets in and no air gets out. Then why do you keep putting it on? I don't think you can get me to move with these silly questions. You're going to have to defeat me if you want to get by. I'm not hearing this. Let's go to the living room. Sure it's dark. I'll go turn on the light. Wow, so this is what the stars house looks like. Come on, Mr. Nick, let's find Shoo, the kitty cat. Shoo! So I guess this is Shoo. Ah, what a lovely cat. Hello, Shoo. Hehe. The cat seems to like pearls. Pardon me. Huh? Let me help you with something, mister. Oh, we're lawyers, actually. I'm Mr. Encard's lawyer. Masters. And he must be Mr. Wright. Yes. Oh, she's on the other side of this door. That's the door. Ah, it's a pleasure to meet your wonderful self. I'm the family butler, John Doe. Nice to meet you. Okay. Let me examine this door. There's a small door at the bottom of this bigger door, Mr. Nick. That is for Mr. Encard's cat to use. Oh, you mean Shoo? The door, it's locked tight. Well, I guess that's to keep nosy people like me from entering it. No, that's where Mia is. Alright, let's talk to him. Matt Encard. You must know all sorts of things about Mr. Encard, right? Honestly, sir, I don't believe my master is capable of such a foul deed as a murder. And, anything else? No, not especially. It's not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of the master of his affairs. How typically butler-like as if it were. John Doe. Mr. Doe, how long have you served at this residence? Well, sir, I would have to say maybe about 1 year. And, anything else? No, not especially. It is not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak of himself and his affairs. You know, I would have thought Mr. Encard is kind of a maid-over butler. True. That's a very cute cat you've got here. It is my duty to take care of him. The master rather fancies shoes. And, anything else? No, not especially. It's not appropriate for a lowly servant to speak a family cat. Well then, I guess I don't need this piece of scrap paper anymore. It's not crumpled into a ball and thrown away. Well, I'm afraid I must take my leave of you now. Oh, we should probably get going ourselves. Ah, so young and already so accomplished. A master of law. But there's also a lot to be proud of in being a butler. In charge of the house and all. Thank you for the compliment, sir. People are always not who they appear to be. Now, if you'll excuse me. Alright. I guess we're going back. Let's present the letter of introduction so we can get in. Maybe if I show her this, I got Edgeworth. Mr. Oldhack, if you would look at... What? You want me to look at this sort of piece of... Hey, Cheapoo! Ah, is that her perfume? Pheromones and more, I smell. Let's see here. Would you please allow this unsophisticated young person to conduct an investigation? Yours truly, Miles Edgeworth. Yours truly? That man's good at flattery. Fine, but only because Edgipoo said so, you understand? Letter of introduction given to Miss Oldback. I just thought of something I have to do. Remember, no messing around, you do anything bad, and I won't let you off the hook. Alright. It looks like she has strong feelings to Mr. Edgeworth. That may be, but you know nothing's going to come out of it. That's what I mean, Mr. Nick. Feelings are meant to be told and shared. Ow. Every time we talk about love, I always end up with a handprint on my face somehow. So anyway, let's continue our investigation. Okay. Ah, what? What now? One little thing before I forget. You can go into Engar's room today. Why? The police main's investigation team is going to be in there all day, you hear? I wonder if they are in the team in charge of investigating the killer. But don't go in there. Set one foot in there and you'll face Raph and the old back. Okay, let's go to the hallway. Looks like we're the only ones here. And yet, this hotel seems busy somehow. Probably because the police team is scoring the clues about the killer. Hallway. March 22. Hey, city boy! Loda, you're still here! And of course, an investigative photographer eats and starves on her ability to snap out the script, yeah? And this hotel is just that aura of mystery. You know, like something's always about to happen. But, do you have a camera? Given. Photographer gotta have cameras out there, like a corn to be a real pro, you know? So I'm hanging around here. Speaking of cameras and feet in the mouth, do you have mine, you bread thief? Why can't you drop that thief thing already? Well then, can I give her the camera? Would you please take a look at this? Nope, sorry, no can do. Only thing I want to see is steam in hand towel. What? Steam in hand towel? Need one for my eyes. Today just isn't a good day for my eyes to be looking at stuff. How convenient. Maybe I'll have to use that one next time you show me something. Alright, we're gonna be talking to her, but that's gonna be for next time. So let me go here, let me click save, and let me save over here. We did quite a nice progress today. We basically did 2 trial parts and part of the investigation. I don't think we can finish it next time. Hopefully we can. Probably not though. We'll see how it goes. Either way, thank you all for watching. This was Phoenix Wright, Justice for All, and I'll see you guys next time where I hope we can finish it. Again, I'm not sure. Anyways, bye bye!